Hey everybody, Scott Weichel. You're listening to My Kind of Country right here at Fish Creek Radio. My guest tonight has sold over 8 million records, including 14 top 10 hits, 12 recorded albums, and 4 Female Vocalist of the Year awards. She made her mark on what has now become timeless country standards. 5 minutes, except for Monday, Something in Red, Watch Me, and What Part of No Don't You Understand. She established her place as a country music legend and has just released a soulful and reflective new album called Letting You Go Slow. And she's here with us tonight to talk about it. Please welcome the one and only Lorrie Morgan to My Kind of Country. Lorrie, how you doing today?
I'm doing great, Scott. How are you?
Wonderful. It's a pleasure to have you on the show. I appreciate you taking time.
Thank you.
I am very excited about this album. And Lorrie, you've done some just stellar albums in your career, but I'll tell you what, I think this is a career one that to top all the other ones. I really do.
Thank you. I thank you. I'm so proud of this album, and my whole team is proud of this album, and we're so proud. We're going for a Grammy next year on this album. We're keeping our fingers crossed we can get a Grammy with this album.
Well, I have every reason to believe that you're going to win because there's not a bad song on the album. It's just
Thank you.
Every song on here is just stellar. I love the mixture of the new and old.
Thank you. Thank you.
I call it, one of the things I really like about your album is that it's very deep, and I call it musical therapy, and I think that's kind of maybe what you're going for.
Yes, that is a great description.
Well, tell me about, I was reading up on, of course, I know Patsy Cline's version of Strange, and I didn't realize till I read up on it that Mel Tillis co-wrote this song.
Yes, he did, and that's basically why I love Mel Tillis's old school writing, and I'm a big Mel Tillis fan. Of course, working with Pam in these last 5 years, I've gotten pretty close with Mel as well, and I wanted to record a Mel Tillis song, and that was the one I picked.
Well, you picked a good one, and you did a great version of it. You kind of kept it somewhat in that Patsy Cline vein too. I like that.
Oh, definitely. You can't change that.
That's for sure. Well, there's certainly an eclectic mix on here. You've got one by Bobby Gentry that she did originally, and a Dylan song too. Tell me about those.
Well, I'm a huge Bobby Gentry fan. Always have since I was a little girl. I had her and Glenn Campbell's duet album that I used to listen to every single day. I just thought she had this great sultry voice, and we tried to keep it in that vein when we recorded Ode to Billy Joe. We slowed it down a little bit and even made it a little more swampy and sultry, and it's just a very sexy song to me anyway. And then the Bob Dylan song is a song I've been wanting to record for years and years and years, and I finally had the nerve to do it on this album, and at the last minute I almost backed out, and my husband said, "Oh, please, I've been waiting to hear you sing that." So, but anyway, my husband said, "I've been waiting for you to do this," and so Richard Landis comes in the studio and said, "I got a great idea for this song," and we said, "What is it?" And he said, "Let's cut it country reggae." And I'm like, wow, and the band just kind of flipped out, and they just all kind of started playing what he was talking about, and everybody just got in this really cool groove with this Morgan meets Marley meets Dylan kind of thing. It was just great.
That's really cool. I like that. Well, one of my favorite Vern Gosdin songs is called "Is It Raining at Your House?" and I was so glad to see you do this song.
Thank you. I've also had that song in my pocket for about 12 years. I wanted to do it on one of my last albums I did with Richard Landis, and at the last minute it got bumped for another song, and same thing with I've Done Enough Dying Today, the Larry Gatlin song. Both of them I've been wanting to record for, for 12, 15 years, and I just kept holding on to them, hoping, nobody else got a hold of them, and they didn't, and so there we have them.
Well, they're timeless songs. The true test of a good song is that it stands the test of time, and no matter how many times it's done, it's always it's always comes back, and everybody loves it all over again, and it kind of gets it out there to a new generation.
Yes, I agree. A lot of people think it, well, that's a brand new song when actually it's not.
Yeah. Well, there are some new songs on here, and I also think that years from now I'm gonna hear someone else recording these and going, this was one that I heard Lorrie Morgan do, and it's become a classic. And one of those I believe you co-wrote this with Kelly Lang, with T.G. Shepherd's wife.
Yes, I did.
How does it
Me
feel?
and Kelly and Mark Oliverius wrote this song, and it's kind of a funny story about about the song. I started writing it. I was going through a divorce with Sammy Kershaw, and I was in that limbo place where you don't know if you're doing the right thing or the wrong thing, and so I was having what I call a pity party for me one night, and I was at home by myself, and I ran the bathtub and filled it full of bubbles and lit some candles and got out a bottle of wine and was sitting there in the bathtub, and I started crying, and I reached for the phone, and I called Kelly Lang. And she said, "Hello," and I said, "Kelly, I don't know if I'm doing the right thing. Am I right or wrong? I don't know how I'm supposed to feel. How does it feel? When do you know when to let go?" And she said, "Hold on a minute. Let me grab a piece of paper and pen." And she was like, "Hold on. This is better. This is a better song than you even know." So she and I wrote the song over the phone, and the next day we went and put music to it.
Wow. That's how some of the best ones come about. That's what I love about country music, man. You take the real life and boom, there it is.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, tell me, there's another one on here that I believe your daughter-in-law wrote, Ashley Hewitt, Slow.
Yes, she wrote "Letting You Go Slow," which is the title track to the album, and she's, of course, Ashley was my band leader for 3 years, and now she's taken off with a new group called Post Monroe. And but when I heard her write this song 3 years ago, she played it for me, and I begged her. I said, "Ashley, please don't give that song to anybody. Please wait till I'm ready to record it." And she did. She held on to it for me, and that was the first song we recorded in the studio.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. And of course, it became the album title, too. That's great. Tell me about Jesus and Hairspray. I got a real kick out of this one.
Well, actually, it's the only up-tempo song on the album, and it was a song pitched to me by a friend of mine, Liz Marin. I think it's a Curb song, and it was just a fun song. It's something every girl can relate to. It cures everything. All you need is a little hairspray and Jesus. You can get through everything. And it was just a fun song to throw in on top of so many serious songs.
Isn't there like an old saying, something about the higher the hair, the closer you are to heaven, or something like that?
In the song, the higher the hair, the closer to heaven.
Yeah, that's great. Well, I think one of my favorite songs, if not my favorite song on the album, is just gorgeous, and I've already played it on my show. It's called "Lonely Whiskey."
Oh,
man, I love that one.
Yes, it truly is. It truly is a great song. That's another song that Liz Marin pitched me. One of the originals on that album, and I just think it's like the epitome of a country song, man.
Yeah.
It's just like, golly, it's just, I've been there so many nights sitting there at a bar, just feeling the way that song,
Oh yeah.
the song says.
Oh, beautiful song. Well, real quick, tell me about you recorded this in an unusual place. This album.
Well, we did it at Ocean Way, which is an old church in Nashville. It's that they've put in great studio and state-of-the-art equipment, and we just had a really cool vibe going in the studio, and maybe it's because it was in the church. I don't know, but we had candles going and a lot of vibe, incense and stuff like that going for me, so we really got into the mood of the album.
And you had all the musicians right there with you too, right?
Oh yeah, they were all right there with me. I'm not one that can sing good without the musicians there. I like to try and get my songs on live vocal.
Amen to that. You get a much better vibe. I totally agree. Well, folks, it's Lorrie.com, and the album is Letting You Go Slow. It's going to be available everywhere, and we're going to be playing a lot of it on our show. And Lorrie, it's been a pleasure having you on the show, and I wish you the very best. And please go catch Lorrie on tour. She's going to be up here in Michigan on February 20th and touring all over in support of this great album. And I appreciate you taking the time, Lorrie, and I hope you can come back on the show again sometime.
Thanks, Scott, and thanks for supporting our music, okay?
You got it. We are very happy to. That is Lorrie Morgan on My Kind of Country right here on Fish Creek Radio. Thanks again, Lorrie.